Hello, this is I'm from Piqua. My name's Camilla Nicholas.
My name's David Anderson, and we are seniors here at Piqua High School, and today we are sitting here with Mr. Nate Wright, and we're just going to ask him a few questions. So, Mr. Wright, could you introduce yourself?
Well, hello. Thank you for having me today. My name is Nate Wright, and I was a senior at Piqua High School, but that was in 2003.
Which teachers that currently teach here now were your teachers when you went to school here?
Currently, the only teachers that were ones that I had would be Mr. Westfall, Mr. Burns, and Mr. Uhl.
How was your senior year different than our senior year?
My senior year was different from one thing. I was at the beginning of the war in Afghanistan and Iraq, as I was a junior when the tragedy at 9/11 happened in New York and other places, and the following years when we decided as a country to go into Afghanistan and Iraq, and so here you are at the end of it. But the biggest difference for what you can see is technology. You guys have a lot of it and we didn't.
We do events like Fall Fest and other celebrations. What did you do when you were at school?
Well, we didn't have Fall Fest. Mostly we had just pep rallies, things like that. We did the Burn the Bee when you had that come back this year for our pep rally for Sydney downtown at the gazebo. We also had one for Troy at the gazebo. Those kinds of things. Did a lot more prep rallies in school for football team stuff. But as far as activities like Fall Fest, we didn't have anything like that. We did start the Powder Puff football game that I think was suspended due to COVID last year, but that was mostly what we had.
What advice did you receive that got you through high school the most?
I think the best advice I received was from my 8th grade math teacher, Mr. Roth, and one of the things that I had trouble with was I'd have questions but I wouldn't speak up in class and hope the teacher would answer them without me asking, and he just told me to be aggressive. And so when I got to high school I got aggressive and I started asking questions, and that really helped me a lot.
Football is a very popular sport in our school nowadays. What sport was popular when you were in school?
Still football. I was in school with the 2002 state runner-up championship team, and then shortly after, of course, the state team that won in 2006, but pretty much the same ones you have. I will say, though, I think more of the unknown sports have come up into prominence. It's like cross country. That was around, but there seems to be a lot more people in it than there was when I was in school.
Speaking of sports, what clubs and after-school activities were big during your time at Piqua High School?
They had the same kinds of clubs. I think we actually had a chess club, Spanish club. One of the biggest ones was Science Olympiad, which was available to freshmen only because mostly it was a junior high thing. And we actually had a couple teams go to nationals in 2 consecutive years, I believe.
What's it like being a teacher here now? What advice do you give your students?
Being a teacher here now has been really rewarding, as I feel like I can directly give back to the school and the community that helped me to be where I am. My biggest advice is to take all the opportunities that you can get, as you have a lot of opportunities, and anyone that's older than you two, when you listen to them, you're going to say you have more opportunities than I have. And I think when you become adults and you move into that level, then that's what you're going to tell the people that are young people. As when you become an adult, as I have, I believe that one of my goals has always been to help to create more opportunities for people that are coming up underneath me. And if you don't take advantage of it, then it just lays there and it's kind of a waste. So take those opportunities that are in front of you.
How was school lunch different from when you were in school to now?
School lunch, that's a good one. It was a lot more palatable, I think. There has been nutritional changes, but the menu was a lot more diverse. I have noticed that between month to month of the calendars, there's like a 3-week set of lunches that repeat, and I don't remember having that so much. One of the other things we used to have that you don't see is you had a condiment bar, and so you could put all your pickles and mustard and ketchup and such like that on it that you wanted. And one of the things that was really cool, we had what's called a pasta bar. So for lunch, you could go out and they would give you choices of 2 or 3 different kinds of pastas and sauces like marinara and Alfredo, and you could pile it on your plate with a breadstick when it was a meal. And I really missed that.
Is Is there one thing that you could change about Piqua High School now?
That's an excellent question. The one thing I would like to change, I think, would just be in general, would be the attitudes amongst the youth. There's a lot of good attitudes, but there's some that are just don't have a good attitude towards school. If I could change that, and that's what I try to do on a daily basis, that's what I'd like to change. Make the bad attitudes turn into good ones.
What do you like most about living in Piqua?
I enjoy living in Piqua. First of all, it's my hometown. I was born and raised here, so familiarity, I really like that. The other things about it is I do like the small town atmosphere. About everybody knows everybody, and there's a nice communal sense of that. When you go out in public, you can just chat with strangers, and you have that good sense, hey, I'm from Piqua, I'm here, and we'll help each other out. I see that evident whenever we get some kind of natural disaster, like mostly snowstorms, neighbors out helping neighbors, and to me, that's what American life's all about, is neighbors enjoying living with each other and helping each other out.
What is your favorite piece about Piqua history?
There's a lot of history here, and of what I know, I think my favorite piece has to be our war veterans. Namely, we have two big names. One you've heard of, William Pitsenbarger. In fact, our own Mrs. Pitsenbarger here is a relative of his, but he was a Medal of Honor recipient in Vietnam, and they recently made a movie that was somewhat about his story, and that's awesome. But the other one you may not know of is a statue that stands downtown on the square, and that man is named Don Gentile, or a friend of mine that actually knew his father called him Don Gentili, and his dad used to have a bar downtown as well. That's where they met, that kind of a thing. But Don Gentili was a World War II ace. In fact, he was the most decorated World War II ace with 33 confirmed kills in his fighter plane. That's my favorite kind of history.
Is there anything you want to tell us about yourself or the community?
As far as the community, I think that this applies to all Americans, that we have a great deal of need to go back to listening rather than talking. So many people have an opinion and want to talk and not listen, and I believe we need to go back and actively listen to the other side of anyone. Currently we have in the city a somewhat heated race for the commission seat in the 3rd Ward, and I would appreciate that if anyone is listening would take the advice to listen to other people, try to take on their perspective, because it's always easier to just be stagnant in where you're at. But think of the old Chinese proverb of taking a journey in someone else's shoes for a moment to see where they're coming from. That'd be the best advice I could give to everyone.
From David and myself, thank you for watching I'm from Piqua.